my problem with like African people like that live in London, you guys dick ride your parents way too much. I'm gonna be honest. I started letting my parents down from the age of 13. Hard process. You just gotta let them down slowly. Become the worst version of yourself. I feel like my parents low key knew I didn't give a fuck if you kicked me out, stopped loving me. I don't give a fuck. But then like, African people, you're always trying to impress your parents. Like, my God, them niggas 80. Stop living for your parents, man. God damn it. Like they're either gonna love you or hate you. It really don't matter.
What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Hey, African people. I'm talking about the first generation African people. The children of the ones that came over to the Americas to the West. Why do you have to disappoint your parents? Why you gotta disappoint your parents? Now, I know people didn't think I was gonna go there with this, because y'all see what I've been doing. Y'all see what I've been doing as far as, talking about everybody, right? And like I said, just like the white man can talk about us and how we parent, how we socialize all our statistics, right? Just like the POC can do that, right? They can talk about our statistics and all that stuff. They can, everybody can talk about us, in our family dynamics. The Asian people, they can talk about us. We're always allowed to be talked about. So I feel like if that's the case, then we should examine everyone else, right? It was good for the goose, is good for the gander. And today we're going to explore the African parents. We're going to explore what y'all been doing, and I'm talking peer to peer. We're going to talk about what you've been doing since we split. You know what I'm saying? What have y'all been doing since we split? Because before we split, we was various different solid things. It was something there. But right before we split, right before we split, with the break, right before that, we had our own identity, our own ways of being, right? We were all together. But when we split, right, we went this way to the Americas, to the West, to the UK, and you stayed there, right? However it happened, that's how it happened. But since then, we both have been dealing with the same English-speaking European. His missionaries came to you. The missionaries rode with us. The missionaries beat you in them rice fields and in those cane fields where you guys were enslaved in Africa. Remember that. Because before we split, we was empires. Before we split, we was nations. Before we split, we was dominant. But we couldn't compete with that gun and cannon. We couldn't compete with that European's tricks. And just like everybody else around the world, we fell to the gun, to the cannon, and to the germs. We also fell prey to the missionary and his Bible, just like the rest of the world did. Because that's what the missionaries started first, with that Bible. I want to know what you guys were doing when the white man gave you that Bible. Because you guys know what we were doing when the white man gave us the Bible. Everybody knows what we were doing when the white man gave us that Bible. So at the exact same time, what were you guys doing when the white man gave you that Bible? That's when you guys stopped practicing in fullness your traditional ways of spirituality, right? We were beaten. Christianity was beaten to us. Christianity was beaten into you. That's how people become Christians. It's beaten into them. The Europeans were not Christian until it was beaten into them. That's how Christianity has always spread. Through beating, death, and destruction. That is its main thing, right? But what I want to know is, how did your parents survive colonization, which was just in slavery in Africa? How did you deal with the white European curriculum? Because you know how we dealt with the white European curriculum. But keep in mind, the same white person you were dealing with, we was dealing with. It's the same English. Don't ever mistake these white Americans for not being English. And the rest of these white people just following along with what they say. That's why they get to be called white. But it's the English. They are the ringleaders. They are numero. They're the boss. And England is OG boss. America is England 2.0. Don't ever forget that. Right? But I just want to know, I want to know what your parents were doing. Right? And before we go, I need you guys to understand, who don't understand, every group of people have a caste system, right? A form of structure, a hierarchy. And what makes Africans unique, and you'll see it even in our own family, is the hierarchy is of age, of your status is of age. That's why I know a lot of people look curious when they see, why are all these really old leaders, how are they able to maintain their power? What the outside world don't understand is he's God mode. He's S tier because of his age. He's an elder within the structures of hierarchy of whatever society is a part of. He's an elder. We black people, we gotta understand what spirituality is. We black people worship ourselves. We've always been worshiping ourselves. We worship our babies. We worship birth. We worship ourselves as being gods. We worship the transcendent through the journey of life, right? We worship the elder because they're going godly. The older you get, you're wiser you're supposed to become, and you're going closer to your true form as you get older. And then when you pass along, you go home, that's when you ascend to your true self, when you complete this form. And we also believe in rebirth. If we choose to come back, we come back. And sometimes within our families, we look at our children and we say, oh, that's grandfather. Or you look at your daughter, you say, that's your grandma right there. I'm telling you, grandmama, that's an old soul. You see, African Americans, when we look at our children, sometimes we see our grandparents in them. And we believe that our grandparents' soul is truly in that child. That is a African American thing within our culture, is to see our grandchildren, see our great grandparents or our grandparents within our child, because we also believe, spiritual wise, that we as spirits can choose to come back within our families. In Africa, we get that from Africa, because African people, from the Egyptians all the way to South Africa, all of that are just amalgam. Those are just pictures and characteristics of allegories of life, of exploration, of science, of exploring this thing that we created as spirits. We're all one, right? So we are the spirit. That's what you always hear me say with the spirit. We are this. That's an African thing. So Ifa, if you know anything of Ifa and voodoo and voodoo and root work, all that, if y'all know, if any of y'all participate or practice in that, you'll know what I'm talking about. We are truly the actual spirit. All this is real. It's not in the book, right? So what I'm saying is, so eldership worship follows the line of succession. So it's so solid, some people have taken advantage of it. And the thing is, before the white man gave us that Bible and the Asian man gave us Islam, that completely skewed how we were as people. Because not only did we have to deal with the fact that we had Christianity being given to us, we also had to deal with the caliphate coming and changing our culture. We were fighting both the Bible and the Quran at the same time. That was our downfall, because we were fighting each other at the same time as various different empires. Capitulating to a trading system of Islam, for the sake of trade, and not having to deal with those barbaric, savage Arabs who are nomadics, just like them European freaking Vikings, nomadic thugs. They go about stealing and raping and pillaging because where they come from, they don't have a lot of resources. That's just what they do, those nomadic people. They're very violent historically, because they don't grow and cultivate. That's the issue they got going on now with the Fulani. And then they'd be called terrorist organizations because they want to move about these places that have borders And they don't recognize borders because they've been going there for thousands of years, moving throughout the country, right? Add Islam and extremism and lack of education, and you got yourself a powder keg for terrorism or whatever you want to call it, right? But I want to know what you West Africans have been doing since Islam and Christianity has been given to you, since our collective cultures that we both are separated from, since we've been given that, because y'all know what we've been doing. Everybody knows what we've been doing, but we don't know what you guys been doing. Why is it that some of you guys believe that you're better than us? Why do some of you guys like us so much? Why do some of you guys hate us? Why do some of you guys love us? How is it that you can look at us and see exactly which tribe we come from? How come you don't understand that we don't have a concept of what tribe we come from? How come that Western education that you got in your school in Africa didn't explain to you properly what was happening with us over here? Have you ever put a correlation to your lack of understanding to your lack of understanding of our situation and empathy for the things that we talk about here, right? In our family dynamics. Because you've dealt with the European over there for the same amount of time we've dealt with the European over here, but you had the home advantage. So how did your family structure stand up compared to our family structure? Because you guys know how our family structures stood up. You actively see the mechanisms and the institutions that hold us down, diminish us, dehumanize us, and make it difficult for us to form our proper family structures. You see it. We talk about it. Everybody talks about it. It's a main form of attack, right? But what about you guys? Because we don't know about how you guys have been raising your Christian and Muslim families in a West African country. And how did you guys end up over here in Americas? And what situations do you find yourselves in over there that make you have to come over here? And why haven't you went back? Because the reason why China is doing so well is because when the first group of Chinese people started to come to the Americas to seek out education in order to get into the Ivy League universities, because those Ivy League universities, the degrees that those Ivy Leagues gave out were more valuable than the Chinese degrees from the universities in China. So it was cheaper to send your child over here to America to go through the program to get a degree that was more valuable in America than to go through the rigorous process of the system which China created to get that degree. Because if you get stuck in China's system, that's it. You're locked in. There's no moving about. There's no second chances. You got to understand the system is different in China. So it behooves and it's cheaper to send your child to America, go to the highest S-class or A-class college in America, get a degree that is cheaper in America, best believe, and has more value over there. But the thing that's changing now. But you see what happened, those Chinese people, when they got those degrees, they went back to China and they started building in it. And the thing is, China and Africa, when it comes to architectural advancement, they were about at the same level. And still to today, most of China looks like Africa. All the development you see in China, most of China is still rural. It still looks like the villages in Africa. But at least in the places that they do call cities or metropolises, look how they're developing. It's because the people that went to get those degrees, they went back. And the thing is, they left war too. They left famine too. They left corrupt governments too. They left corruption too. Matter of fact, it's corrupt there too. It's still corrupt. Every place is corrupt. They left all the same things that Africans left Africa for, right? The Chinese left for. But they went back and they developed. That's the reason why China is developing. The reason why Africa is not developing is because when you come to the West to get their education, you stay and you build the institutions of the West. You don't go back because infrastructure, corrupt governments. They don't give you the ability to invest in the country. Family who don't understand the value of a Western dollar, right? All the different dynamics that hinder you from going back to doing anything, right? Especially the corruption, right? But at the same time, you guys are the best Africa has to offer, and you're not going back home to Africa. I mean, that's just still the bottom. At the end of the day, despite that, you are the best of Africa, but you don't go back to Africa. You stay in the West because it's comfortable, because it's 24-hour power, because you get paid every 2 weeks. because you accumulate bills that you can't get rid of, because you get into that repetitive bill cycle. Or sometimes you fall between the cracks and you end up being just like everybody else, stuck within the system, working just to survive, going weekend to weekend, just wondering how you're going to pay all your bills. But you can't tell your parents home. You can't tell your parents that at home, can you? You can't tell them that you're struggling over here like everybody else. You have to live up to those expectations because of the worship of eldership, because the worship of the parent, because of the worship of the bloodline, because of the worship of the name, of the spirit, of the history of the ancestors. It goes all the way. Baby, adult, elder, senior citizen, then you become an ancestor. And then you come back. And it's a full circle. And y'all take it so seriously. And we do too. That's how we know, right? But the problem is the mechanisms that used to check those who used to take advantage of that age cash system, because there used to be mechanisms that would check and balance those who took advantage of that. Different governmental structures, different systems that were African based that you don't use anymore because you use the Christianity based, or you use the Muslim based. You done almost forgot, maybe just like we forgot how things used to be before we separated. Because I think we both forgot a lot, even though you know more because you're still there. But I think we both forgot a lot, right? And you got to stop calling, when you get upset with us, slaves with slave names, because every one of you choose to have a white name to fit in when you come here, whether it be your middle name or you change your last name. The only difference is we didn't have a choice, because those names were labels, were brands. You have a choice. You do it to conform to white Western standards in order to be accepted. That's a fact. Okay? So we're going to dig into this so that African Americans can see why is it that maybe their African friend parents looked at them a certain way, or gave them a certain different vibe, or why is it that their African friends said that their parents told them not to mess with them? How did that make sense? Because from an African American perspective, since we've always welcomed everybody, we don't understand why anybody would have an issue with us, right? Especially if we are not keen to, if we're not thinking about how the rest of the world perceives us. Because I'm gonna tell you, America looks wonderful from the other side of the world. When I'm in Nigeria and I see how America is depicted, and it's a totally different story. I can see it. I can see why everybody wants to come to America, the way they advertise themselves. You see their commercials and I like our commercials. They have a whole separate commercials. They got the same ABC, NBC, and Fox, but they got a whole separate cast. They got a whole separate program. And it's all meant to make America look a certain way. America imports talent. So if we import talent, what does it mean? We spend billions of dollars advertising ourselves to the world. Say, hey, bring your best and brightest here. Leave your countries. We promote the brain drain. And that's what's happening in Africa, because you people who are the best of Africa won't go back. You won't go back to Africa, but you'll build for white European institutions, upholding, uplifting, and developing them. But you won't go back and fight the fight, get in the mud and deal with the corruption, deal with the slow moving, deal with the lack of resources and infrastructure to fight through and finally leave a path so that somebody behind you can step over what you developed in order to build something else. Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to get over there and get in the mud and make the concrete so somebody can get on the concrete and lay down the pavement so somebody can get on there and lay down the pressure to make the daggone solar power and pressure power units. So when you step on those bad boys, they generate a little bit of pressure power like they already do in China. Probably got some African engineer over there developing it with some Chinese engineer, because there's no place allowing them to develop that in Africa. Because he's probably getting paid very well over there in China or in Canada or in the UK. Just like the doctors. Why would a doctor go back to Africa and work there as a doctor when they can get paid $100,000 in the West? It would take a special type of person to do that for the love of the game. But the thing is, they're going to need people for the love of the game, for the love of their people, to go over there and do that. Because that's the only way it's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to see the value in doing it, taking the risk to do it. Somebody's going to have to do it. Somebody's going to have to take the hit and do it. That way, the next person don't got to take that hit to do it. You've already seen it can be done. We've proven it. We've shown how to do it. Everybody knows it because everybody talks about it. They make movies about it. So if we can do it, you can do it, because we are the same people. But let's see why it is that you gotta disappoint your parents. Why is it so important for you guys to disappoint your parents? Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comments section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
So there is this discussion going on right now on TikTok that says you should just go ahead and disappoint your African parents early, because the earlier you disappoint them, the earlier that they can just get over it and you can go up on about living the life that you actually want to live. And I want to add to that. I would like to say it's only a disappointment until another person's child does it. For example, in my early 20s, my mom had told me that I needed to start a podcast, and she was so serious. Mind you, her and my dad are the same Nigerian parents that told me growing up, I was wasting my time in anything artistic, creative, anything. But it was only until my mom's Nigerian friend, her daughter started a podcast that I should.
In my experience, the earlier you disappoint your African parents, the better, bro. I can't lie. Look at me. I always used to feel, I'm turning 22 now, but I've been like this since I was 18, bro. Like tattoos, piercings, hair, like I just been doing what I want. I always, like when I was younger, it was harder. I definitely used to be the topic of many WhatsApp conversations. Definitely used to be the topic of people back home in my city in Calabar talking, man, I just don't know what's going on with Elias. You know, he's drawing, marking all over his body and he's doing this and that and that. But it's freed me up to be myself completely. And now whenever my folks see me working hard, you know, finishing up school, grinding, making money, like accomplishing things in life, they're proud. Now they're seeing I never was like a failure. You know what I'm saying? Like I never was just this rebellious like guy who doesn't want to accomplish greatness. I just wanted to accomplish greatness while also being myself and expressing myself how I want.
As an African from a Nigerian background, a Yoruba household to be specific, I made the active decision to disappoint my parents. And a lot of kids would have to come to that crossroad in life. In order for you to live the life that you want to live, you are going to have to disappoint your parents. Because parents have this thing about them that they have your life planned out for you. Yes, my parents had my life planned out. It was a blueprint. But the moment I started to see the blueprint and it wasn't gelling with me, I knew I had to make those choices. I had to be disappointing them. And disappointing them is not you being rude or anything. It's just about you knowing that you're going to have to make decisions that is counter to what they want. And the moment you start doing that, that's when it looks like disappointment. But listen, in order for you to do that, you are also going to have to come to the realization that you might have to stand on your own 2 feet. You are going to have to do this solo. Yes. And then your job is to prove to them that you're listening. These decisions I'm making, good or bad, I'm going to come out the other end. That's it. That's all you can do. But you might have to do this on your own. You might have to write this on your own. You might have to go solo. There are people out here that were literally casted out of family, told never, not part of this family. They were literally disowned because they went against the grain of what their family wanted, what their parents wanted. But you might have to do that. You might have to do that. You might have to wear it all. Go through it. But know that you're doing it for yourself. If you're doing it to appease something else that isn't deep into you, then it's not going to work. It's going to fail. But yeah, the disappointment is real. It's real. You're just going to have to do it.
The best thing that you can do for yourself to arrive at a level of freedom and self-actualization is get comfortable disappointing your parents. Embrace disappointing your parents. You will have to shock them sometimes with some of the stuff that you do, because sometimes it's been a little bit too long since they've recognized that you don't subscribe to their idea of what good, right, and wrong are, right? That you have veered off and developed your own sense of self, that you became the person that they encouraged you to go to school to become. You actually became that person, and you did not hold on to the ideals that they hoped you would hold on to. Sometimes you just have to shock them. You go, yes, because they get too comfortable. I have always lived far away from my family, and even when my family ended up moving to LA, and
like a year later, I left LA, and it wasn't because I was trying to move away from them, but I also recognized that there is like an independence that is required for me to have in order to continuously build that ability to make independent choices, to think independently, to do what I want to do, and develop a mindset and a value system that is mine and is not theirs. Because the reality is that when I spend a lot of time with them, I get the influx of their opinions and their expectations. And as much as I feel like I'm big and bad, it's actually kind of hard to stay big and bad when you are like surrounded by that perspective all the time. And so if you're someone who had to do a lot of work to get out of people pleasing or parent pleasing, one, sometimes distance is the right thing for you to do. And it could be hard, right? But you can create mental distance as well as like physical distance if you can, if you have the ability to. The second thing is sometimes you just gotta shock them with a little bit of, just spice it up. Like a big no. Like something that actually makes, respect is very big in our culture, right? Like respecting your elders. And I have all the respect in the world for my parents. And also, sometimes I have to remind them that I also have respect for myself. What does that mean? I respect my choices. I respect the fact that I am an adult and I'm a human being and that I have my own value system. And I will not undermine my value system to please their desire for me to fall in line with their decision making. So sometimes I just gotta get a little, I was on the phone with my dad a couple weeks ago, and what he wanted to get me to say was to be like, you know, because we're Christians, we don't hate. And so even though this person has done vile, villainous things, I said, you can stop that right there. Because this is the kind of mentality that has kept us literally enchained. I said, I detest evil things. That mentality is the one that would make me recognize evil and poor behavior in people and still make the decision to allow them into my life, because I felt like it was the Christian thing to do and the godly thing to do and the good girl thing to do, to let them get away with things and love them anyway, even though they've shown me that they are a vile and detestable person, that they are evil and they have no love in their heart. You see what I'm saying? Like some of that behavior will just allow you to be complacent in the choices that you make and the things that you accept in your life. So in order to avoid yourself falling into that, you just gotta shock them sometimes. Just something really quick, just turn it up, and then they'll stop pressing you. That's my lesson of the day.
So it's barely been a week, or it's been about a week since I posted this video. So I made the decision last night to tell my family that I am no longer interested in pretending like I'm looking for a traditional corporate job. Let my family know that I want to do more untraditional things, go all in on my business and modeling, and like just leave that corporate life behind. And already, guys, like it's literally like I keep getting confirmation that this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I was invited to work on a shoot. More to come. I can't share too much. Can't say too much. Where I participated as a model, and my jewelry was featured in a shoot for a brand, pretty popular brand. It was all really exciting. Here's some behind the scenes. Like, my heart is so happy, and like it's confirmation. It's not the big thing yet. It's not the thing that changes my life, but like the fact that this opportunity came almost right after I chose myself and decided to just do for me is absolutely insane. And I can't wait for you guys to see the final product, and I'm just ecstatic. So it's,
if you are African, this is the best advice you ever receive from anybody. Here goes. If you are an African child, disappoint your family early enough and go build your life. Hear me again. If you are an African child, disappoint your family early enough and go build your life. I'm saying this thing because if you show up, if you are the one that is showing up, if you are competent, if they sniff competency in you as an African child, you will die young. You will suffer. I know what I'm telling you. Disappoint them early enough. Be that child that when they call your name at any family gathering, everybody's like, oh, forget that one. Be that child. Be that one. Yes, you. Be that one. Disappoint them. Don't disappoint yourself. Because when you show up, when you're competent, they will squeeze, they will juice you. They will. If I tell you that the cousins that I have and some siblings that I have, that the ones that they don't show up for shit, everybody thinks that they're disappointment. They are doing well, extremely well. Guess who is suffering? It's me. It's me. It's me. The one that showed is me. And when you are competent, when you show up, gradually it turns into entitlement. You understand? Your services will turn to an entitlement to them. The one that doesn't show up, that disappointment, when they show up once, it's a celebration. They will celebrate it. It's a privilege that they even showed up. So be that one child. Disappoint them, but don't disappoint yourself. That's all. That you will never hear this advice from anybody. Disappoint them early enough and go build yourself.
As a professional disappointer of parents, let me tell you, you're going to have to start disappointing your parents from early. You will never be free until you start to disappoint them. And I know that sounds wild, right? But hear me out. Trust me, I used to be like you. When I got back from Niger, I was out here trying to do the most to please these guys. Every decision I made, I was thinking, would my mom approve? Would my dad like this? You know what I realized, bro? This is my life wasting away. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You keep trying to play it safe, right? Do the right thing, be the good child. But what about you? You get to a point, yeah, where time starts flying. Not because they're bad people. It's because you didn't take charge of your own life. You didn't back yourself. You've handed the steering wheel to someone else. So let me tell you something real. They have lived their life. They've made their mistakes, followed their dreams, or maybe they haven't. Now it's your turn. See all these piercings, this hairstyle I'm doing. How do you think I did it? I did it. The whole house came tumbling down. And what happens? People move on. And no, I'm not saying go wild and be crazy for no reason. Like, pick your battles and let it make sense. Especially for my Nigerians. My fellow, you can't bring shame to this family gang. You're trying to undo 40, sometimes 50 years of cultural training. You will not change their minds overnight. In fact, you might never change it at all. And that's fine, bro. You don't have to wait for their approval. Give yourself the approval. I'm telling you, you need to take your power back by force. And let them know you're not rebelling. That this is just your way of living. Look, we are from different times. You're not going to expect them to always agree with what you're going to do. But if you're waiting for them to give you the go ahead, bro, you'll wait forever. So send this video to your parents and tell them I'm the one influencing you. Okay? I'm joking. On a serious note, right? Start living for yourself.
This is your Monday morning reminder that you cannot please an emotionally immature narcissistic parent. In fact, you're better off doing the opposite and letting them get used to the disappointment. All right? And it's better you start doing this younger than older. The more they get used to the disappointment is the more they're going to leave you alone and the more they're just going to come to accept you. All right? Because some of y'all are really walking around here thinking that you are the devil's spawn and you are just the worst child on earth with so much, all this guilt and all this unsureness of yourself. When in reality, your parents just want too much. All right. Some of your parents want y'all to be their financial roommate. They want you to share equally in the financial responsibility of the home, the bills, food, etc. They want you to manage your own stuff and be an adult to where you don't have to rely on them and they can rely on you. They want you to be their emotional spouses, even if they are married. They put you in the middle of their mess, hoping that you choose their side. They're telling you about relationship problems that you should not even know about. They want you to sit and listen to them gossip about their own friends and their own family members. When as the child, this is not even your role. All right, this is what friends are for. This is what your spouse is for. They want you to physically be their adult child, which means they want you to have accomplishments they can brag about. They want you to live a life that they can be happy with and they can be proud of them and their friends. They want you to know how to get into long-lasting relationships. They want grandkids. And even in the midst of all this, they want you to mentally be a child. All right? They want you to still be naive and let them control you. They want you to go along with whatever they say, whenever they say it. They still don't want you to challenge them or ever talk back or hold them accountable. They want you to never question anything, police every word that comes out of your mouth. They don't want you to joke with them, etc. I've listed 4 things, all right? And these 4 things are already clashing with each other. You can't get 4 of these things in one individual. And some of your parents are even so crazy that they want even more than that in you. And when you can't be that for them, now they are condemning you. They are guilting you. They are making you feel like you aren't showing up for them. They are making you feel like you're not doing enough. When in actuality, all you have to be is their child. All right? You just need to be respectful, caring, loyal, kind, and honor them. All right? That's all you need to do. You don't need to be their best friend, especially when they didn't raise you that way. You know how hard it is to turn around and be the best friend to someone who beat you all your life for every little nonsense. Some of the times you got beaten for things you didn't even deserve to get beaten for. Some of the times you got beaten by mistake, and then they want you to just turn around and they want you to be their emotional spouse. They want you to sit down and listen to them gossip and listen to them vent about their wives or their husbands. Or you don't need to. That is not your place as the child. All right, stop making these toxic, narcissistic, emotionally immature parents make you feel like you aren't good enough, you aren't doing enough. A lot of them just need help. They need therapy, they need a friend group, they need a prayer group, they need to go make up with their sisters and brothers. They need a community. All right, but instead of doing that, they try to turn you into their community. Meanwhile, you, the adult child, you're already struggling, juggling a bunch of shit on you. You already have the world kicking your ass on a day-to-day basis. You already have to be a friend to your friends. You already have to be a brother to your brothers. You already have to be a child to your parents. You already have to be a spouse to your spouse. You cannot be Superman or Superwoman for your parent. All right, so stop walking around with this guilt, just adding weight on top of your shoulders, on top of the weight that is already there. That is ridiculous. You understand? Disappoint your parents. Let them get used to it. Eventually, they are going to realize that they are their own problem, and they're going to figure it out. Whether it be they figure out how to mend things in their relationship and talk to each other like adults and stop the senseless bickering and putting the children in the middle, or they make up with their siblings, or they stop gossiping about their friends and develop more deeper friendships, or whatever. But they need to realize that their children are their children, especially when it's a Caribbean/African parent and you raise your kid to not be your friend. You beat them their whole lives. You police every word that came out of their mouth. You never let them express themselves, etc. Don't be expecting your child to be a community, all right?
If you want a happy life in an African household, you gotta push them boundaries. You gotta disappoint your parents. You gotta do what you wanna do, or you're just gonna be miserable. Like, you will never have that freedom unless you push those boundaries. Trust me, I was the troubled child because, baby, I was doing what I wanted to do. Period. Like, are we forgetting that this is my life? Like, this is not my parents' life. This is my life. I am not gonna live between their lines. No.
You can't live your life trying to make your parents happy. Welcome back to 32 Lessons by 32, where I give you one lesson a day until my 32nd birthday. Lesson 24 of 32, you might have to disappoint your parents. A lot of us grew up trying to be the version of ourselves that would make our parents proud. You know what version I'm talking about. A life that looks good so they can brag to their friends about you. Because one thing about our parents, they love to brag. My son's an engineer. My daughter, hey, she's a doctor. Of her class. And that all sounds great if you actually want to be a doctor or engineer or whatever. But when you don't want to be any of those things, you gotta let your parents down gently. And no one really prepares you for that. Up until the 11th grade, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a surgeon. Like, nobody can tell me nothing. And when I tell you my parents had a field day with that one, they were excited. Something just clicked for me later on in 11th grade. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Around that time, you start to look at colleges, majors. And they kept bringing up like, oh, medical school, da-da-da-da. I was like, yeah, medical degree. But I couldn't hold it in any longer, and I had to tell them. And when I tell you they were sick, you don't want to disappoint your parents. They raised you. They sacrificed a lot for you. It wasn't easy, but I also wasn't going to put myself in a position to go to school for X amount of years for a career that I don't want. If you try to make everyone happy and comfortable about your life decisions, you're absolutely going to be miserable. The reality is, our parents grew up in a different time. What meant success back in the day is totally different now. I had to learn that I didn't want to live with other people's life decisions for me. Yeah, your parents will be disappointed at first. They'll get over it. Lesson 24 of 32, choose your own path. Don't blink too hard. Lesson 25 is coming.
Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you're all having a great start to your new year. I'm sorry for not posting as much. I really do have a desire to post more. I just have something that's been weighing on my heart a lot that's been stopping me from posting. The anxiety it's caused me has honestly just derailed me from my life and the things I've used to do. Essentially, without going into too much detail for now, I'm just making a decision that my entire family don't agree with me with. And this is like the first time that I'm doing something where they don't agree with me. I'm the youngest daughter in a Nigerian household. I'm 26 years old, but I guess to them I'm still a child. So I'm just making a decision that they're all unhappy with me with. And I've had multiple conversations, but where like there's no like compromise. Like both of us, my family and I, we don't agree. So I'm doing this on my own. And this is the first time that I've ever done this in my life. I'm so used to always being like told what to do and being told like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, this is good for you, this isn't good for you. And I've never had time to like work the muscle of deciding what I like, what I want to do. And I think I've just reached a breaking point ultimately. Like, I've just reached a point where I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know who I am as a person at all. And don't get me wrong, I love my parents, I love my family so much. Being the youngest, I've always felt this, but I just feel like no one sees me as my own person or that I can make my own decisions. I feel like I'm decoration most of the time, like I'm just an ornament, and my opinions don't matter at all. And for the longest time, I've just been trying to chase approval, trying to get the, oh, I'm proud of you. And I just haven't gotten it, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think I'll ever get the approval that I want because, first of all, like career-wise, I'm in the film industry, which is not a stable career. And second of all, I do think being plus size also plays a part in this. Although no one has told me this outright, I just think I am not the best daughter. Let me rephrase. I do think I will always be the source of disappointment in my family. I already cried about this a lot of times. I did get teary-eyed, but I'm okay because I feel like I'm the source of disappointment in the family, and yet I'm still trying to chase approval that I don't think I'll ever get. I just had to stop and think, like, then what's the point in me doing all of this? Like, why aren't I just making my own decisions now? I will say I'm a good daughter. I know I'm a good daughter. Like, I don't do anything. Like, I'm not a crazy girl. I've gotten my bachelor's, I've gotten my master's. But because I'm the youngest and my sister's already done that, I personally don't think that matters to them as much. And I just come to a point where I just need to do what makes me happy, because if I don't, I will literally self-destruct. And I have been on a self-destructive path for the past few months. I want that spark that I used to have, and I want to be creative. Like, I know I'm a creative person. I have ideas. Like, I know I'm funny, but this situation has just really kept me down. And I just realized I want to stop basing things on my emotions and just acting on impulse. Even though I've been feeling quite depressed and down lately, I just want to power through that because I don't like this feeling. I want to start living for myself. I want to stop being sad because my family don't agree with me, or I'm not getting their approval, because in that I'm still giving them power and affecting my emotions. I just want to be free. I just want to do me. That's what I have to say. This is a very long video. It's been weighing heavily on my heart. I just felt like I had to get it out. I might delete this video, but hopefully now I can just start the process of moving on and going back to creating, going back to making things like I used to for you guys. If any of you can relate to me, leave a comment. Thank you.
I don't use less, so I'm not useless, so I'm not useless. By God's grace, I'm not saying no they work out for me now. I'm not useless. I'm not useless. Thank God for this uselessness. Because not the one way they work out of this life. Just because you want to know what means I'm not to know what. It go work, mommy. It go work. It go work. It go work. After 2 years, I did. After 2 years now, they are not see for the eyes. So 2 years now, they go in the use the compare. I'm not sure they compare. They fight for them. You will be compare them. What they ask? What they say you do for me?
Relax. Why are you shaking?
One time reach, one time mates go out, they never go, me go still go my own. Now my own, I they follow. Now my trade that they follow. Now my trade that they follow, I know they follow person trade. I don't know the time they go. You want to make the time. Last time we said we were doing for me this time. When we start they finish shop, but they don't remind me say, time God, this is called us as. Now you just say I remind say, time God they go. No time we go, no the answer person. Anytime we can be. But what do you can't have anything for your head? And that's better.
And that's better for who?
I don't get faith for me. Maybe say I need to live like I mean no where for the pay me. I get faith for myself. I don't get faith. You will get faith. That God, I made that faith. They manifest. I beg you. I know they go again. I know go. Not if like the clothes that say they don't come for come. But they say she can't resist. She want to be called. She want to tell them. Make she dey talk. I know they go.
Some African mothers, not they born.
No, you know they born. Abi, una they let person.
Not be person born. No be
okay, like grandma born.
Not be person born.
What context did you gather? Like it sounds like she's trying to send her to go back to something. Like she at the end there, she's like, I know they go. Like is there a chance that this conversation started because she dropped out of something that she was doing, and the mom is now using that to insult her?
Even if she dropped out of something, you cannot be calling her useless. You cannot be saying, oh, that your mates are this and that. No, you can't do that because everybody's situation is different. You don't know what those mates are doing. They might come out now and like, oh, this and that, but you don't know if they're even happy. You don't know beneath the surface. I'm sure that someone like a Regina Daniels, when her friends, or maybe when she got married, maybe there would have been one of her friends around her age, or the parents might have said, oh, see, is it not you that somebody, you know, that kind of thing.
But you don't want your daughter to marry an older man.
But you don't, but you don't now know what she was passing through there or some stuff like that, right? It's the same thing. You cannot, the tongue is so powerful, especially
from a mother. I just think it's so unfair, the kind of pressure that parents put on kids these days.
That's a useless woman.
Well, I don't remember us being pressured. Like I think like with the younger generation have such a, and especially with social media as well, they have such a pressing need to be reached quickly. It's to the point where parents are not even questioning their children's wealth anymore.
Right.
Like your son can just pull up at home with a Mercedes Benz and a house that's a 23-year-old boy, and you're not wondering from where.
Right.
You just go along with it. You're happy that the money has arrived.
It's like a couple years ago now. Don't you remember that young girl that they said that a Yahoo boy unalived? Then people were saying that the mom never, like, you know, like he literally like dismembered her and used her for, they're suspecting that he used her for like rituals, like they took off her body part, like different things, right? And this is somebody that, you know, he had dated her for maybe like 2 years, right? Like they'll show them like very exotic places, like maybe that they were in the Maldives, they were in different things and all of that, right? So that someone like that, because the guy is also very young, it's not like he comes from like a wealthy home, right? So like, to your point, where parents are not even questioning some of those things, they're like, no, right? So it's very, very sad that it doesn't, this girl is not giving that. I don't know. I don't really know their situation or anything, but I still feel like regardless, again, this person's an adult, and the way the country is and all of that. Yes, people are finding ways to like get creative and do things and all of that. But no, you can't be raining curses like that and be saying, oh, that they're useless, oh, that this, oh, that.
Because why are you in that type of house?
That uselessness now, past uselessness. That's it.
You to your mates too. If you want to compare where your mates are, your mates are not there.
They're in Ikoyi, they're in Lekki. So why are you there? What are you doing? It's not right.
I don't know what's got on between, because I also know that there are children of this generation that are very, very stubborn and they trigger you and they frustrate you. Like it's so hard to raise kids now, especially young adults than it used to be. So I don't know if the mom is coming from a place of just extreme exhaustion and frustration, like I'm tired of this child, you know, the year words. I don't know, but regardless, and I cannot speak to what I'm not in a situation like I've never been in that situation. I can't speak. I just don't think that anything will push me to use the mouth that God gave me to curse the child that God gave me. I don't, because it's not about today, it's about future too, right? You can't what you do to that, what you pour into that child mentally when you say things like, oh wait, now here your mates day or time they go made that fit, you get fit, say made that fit stuff. No. It's almost like you are her trauma. Right. You are the thing she needs to get away from to be successful.
For someone like this, right? And for her to have felt so comfortable to just keep going, and I don't believe that this thing it just started. I believe that this kind of parent has been telling their child how useless they are from onset, from a very young age. And a lot of times, because again, power of the mouth, power of the tongue is so profound that even though let's say you don't believe that maybe the curses would stick or anything, you believe what you hear a lot, especially as kids. Like kids are so vulnerable. Kids you know, their minds work like sponges and everything, right? Like the way we are now, like we know better. We're very, very careful. Even when we, you know, get upset with them and things like that, we take a beat, we take a breath. We're very mindful of how we're going to react or how we're going to, so that it's not coming across as, you're putting that. You want them to have a healthy fear of you, not an unreasonable fear that you're actually going to harm them or hurt them, right? Or that they start to like go into, withdraw and they don't tell you things or share things with you, so that if a child grows up hearing, oh, look at, you're not even smart, look at, you're always getting the 5th, is it not your mate that are carrying first, you are stupid, you are useless, they believe
they
that.
Actually do you know that I have a good example of this thing, and it's a movie, so I know you come and say it's not real life, but it's actually happened. I remember I told you I watched a movie on YouTube last week, I don't think you've seen it yet, but it's called The Trials of Olaide on YouTube, and it was Blessing Jessica Ovasi that acted it. She was the mom. She had a teenage pregnancy. She didn't want the kid, tried to abort the baby. Anyway, the baby did not clear an abort, so the baby came. She had to marry the dad as a young adult. Right. She grew up in marriage, resenting her husband and resenting her child. Ako, Mama Monica de learn. Mama Monica de learn where Mama lied day. What this woman was telling her child, she said, because what happened was that the daughter now got pregnant in her young age as well, I think 18 or whatever, for the street stout. Got pregnant for him, that one rejected the pregnancy. Mama, Olaide's mom was not happy. She's like, you want to sleep here? But what now happened that made me remember where I'm going. A young gentleman saw this girl walking on the road and took a liking to her, despite the fact that she has a young baby, I think 2-3 months old at the time. Wanted to actually marry her. He said, there's something about you, I'm just so drawn to you, and I don't want to date you, I want us to get married. Mama Monica, I said Mama Monica, this lady's mom, as soon as she found out about this man, she wouldn't let her daughter marry a good man. She would tell the daughter, you are the reason why my life is spoiled like this. You don't deserve anything good. She will tell the daughter to kneel down. Say, look at me. Say, I don't deserve anything good. Say, I will never be better than my mother. Say, I will be worse off than my mother. Say, I'm a curse. Say, I'm a bad child. The girl was saying it. Do you know she believed it? I'm talking about a teenage girl. She believed it to the point where she pursued that good man and carried her load because the mother told her she deserves that street tout. Because you came into my life and destroyed my life, your life will also be destroyed. So you will marry the street tout and you will suffer in life too. Poured this whole thing into the girl. The girl went there. Even when the good man came to look for her there, I said, why are you here? You don't like this man? She said, I deserve, this is what I deserve.
Oh yes. You see, the thing is, this thing is deeper than we are seeing, right? And that was why I had that very strong reaction because if you think about it, your first point of socialization is in the home, right? The first people that you're exposed to are your parents. So they have such a higher degree, right? Because a lot of things that you learn, a lot of things that you mimic, and without even knowing, a lot of times, like, you don't even know that you are learning that, but you've learned it. A lot of times you see like your young kids, you're like, oh my goodness, look at her. She put her hand on her waist the way I be putting, like, because they are watching every step, the things you say, the things you do, your non-verbals, all of that. So imagine this child has grown up to idolize you. You are their world. You are everything to them.
Your stamp of approval is
100%. And then you're saying you are useless. You are this. Who else would they be? There's nobody they'll come outside and tell them you are not useless. No, it's you because you are
God on earth.
That's it. That's it. So it is extremely important. You cannot say those kind of things to your child. That doesn't mean that you're going to pamper them too much or baby them and all of that. You can give, like, you can have a firm stance to say, you know what, these are some of the things that I'm expecting, and that, but I want you to know that you can achieve whatever you set your mind to do. You can do this, you can do that, and all of that, right? And then support them the best that you can. But that she would take this, that was so wrong at every level. So if you're the one that you're telling your kids all those, please, you gotta stop that and go and start making amends.
Even this thing that our parents used to do to us when we were growing up, and I'm speaking generally. Oh, you're a mad person.
No, we can't. We can't be doing that. No. Remember that video we did just recently when we were talking about that inferiority complex? Like, it's part of it because you grew up feeling inferior. You grew up feeling like, I don't know, my parents. No, I can't. Exactly. Right. So like, why bother? Why should I even try? Right. And even the little ones that they do, we don't celebrate it, right? Because we are always so. That's why even even us, in our home, what we practice when our kids come back, maybe they've had a test or anything. And even though they missed something, we always focus on what they did, the good ones first. Oh my goodness, you did amazing. You did this, you did that. I'm noticing how you did this. I'm noticing how you do that. Here are some opportunities. This is how we can make things better. What do you think about how would you have done, right? Those for next time, and then because you want them to be involved in the process of figuring it out, so that they're not also so reliant on you that they will always be coming there to like
for validation
or to like figure it out for them, right? Those kind of things. So you want to empower them to also be able to figure things out by themselves. Like my 9-year-old now, when he's very, very good at math, but sometimes he might miss one or two. He'll be like, okay, what do you think went wrong? He will like, let me look at it again. And I should have done that. Right?
It's not to be insulting him and calling him names.
But the biggest thing is that I did not even figure it. Well, me and Masha, but my husband is the one that usually would do that part with him. He'll be like, he didn't need to tell, like, he allowed him to figure it out by himself. So things like that. So this was, this mom. Okay,
F9.
All right,
all right, guys. I don't know.
She was very nice, yeah. Okay. Honor your mother and your father.
Okay, people, tell us what you think in the comments because this was heavy too, very uncomfortable to watch. Stay well, guys. Keep applying pressure. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Right. Bye.
POV. I called my parents by their first names to see how they would react.
Kunle, can you get my charger, please?
What did you just call me now? Eh? Have you lost your mind? Eh?
He called my mum to come downstairs.
Why are you calling her?
Why are you calling him by his first name? It's not funny.
Ruth, this is none of your business.
Who do you think you are? What is wrong with you? You need to go back to Nigeria. One-way tickets. One way. This country has corrupted you. Seriously. I wonder how.
Then they bring my grandma downstairs to talk to me.
It's a joke. Which joke is that?
Stop recording. What nonsense is this? Stop recording, Jerry.
Dear children of immigrant parents, I am begging you to disappoint your parents as soon as you can. Just get it out the way, get it over with. It's so unfair how they use shame and guilt and pressure, all these tactics to get us to follow their exact life plan in order to make them proud of us. And I get it, like I've been there before as well, but I will say it does get to a certain point where if you do not stand the fuck up and say, hey, this is what I want for my life, this is what I want to do, sweetie, this leads you into a very, very fucked up life. Like the kind of life where you can't reverse any of the decisions that you've made. I'm the child of 2 African immigrants. Both of my parents come from Ivory Coast, and they wanted me to be a lawyer. Surprise, surprise. Obviously, you know, at the time I'm young, so I'm like, oh sure, I'll be a lawyer, like whatever, sounds cool, sounds like you make a lot of money. And then I went to this like little program for like law stuff, and I was like, cut the cameras. After that, I didn't really know what I wanted to study in college. Like I wanted to go to college in general because I love school. So years are going on and I'm still like not sure what I want to do. I ended up taking a gap year before going to college, right? And during this gap year, I got signed to a modeling agency. And I think you can imagine my parents were very fucking pissed off. They were like, oh my god, modeling is just like a gateway to like being trafficked and being a prostitute, da 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 da. It got to a point where they were like isolating me, they were very angry with me, and we really just drifted apart. So this is that point where you start to realize that there's friction and you're no longer their perfect little child, and you can either go 2 routes, right? You can go back trying to appease them, trying to be their perfect little child because you don't want to disappoint them, you don't want any beef, you don't want any drama, or you can lean into the disappointment that's already forming and just go for it, right? Use this time as like freedom and a chance to explore yourself. Now, yes, there is going to be a little point in time where, okay, they are going to be very mad at you. They might not talk to you. They might not call you. You know, you might have to go get your own apartment, but I promise you that they get over that. That's just a little bump in the road. Back to the modeling. So I started modeling. They're really mad. And I was like, fuck it. I leaned into it, bro. I was dyeing my brows. I was going out because I'd been perfect up until I was like 2021. I was like, can I have a little fun? Like I wasn't doing nothing crazy, you know, no drugs, nothing like that, but I was definitely having my fun. So yes, that little point in time came, bloop, and guess where? I went this way. We did not speak for like a couple of months. It was a little rough. It was. But eventually they spin the block because they're your parents. They fucking love you. Do you know what I mean? And if they don't spin the block, that's on them. All right? You should love your child unconditionally. But anyway, so I'm modeling. Finally, I figure out that I want to study international relations and languages because I grew up traveling the world because my mom was a flight attendant and I speak 3 languages. I speak French, English, and Chinese, right? So I'm like, yes, that's what I want to do. Boom. I get into NYU. Boom. The bill comes. Now niggas is like, and I'm like, I got it. This model money, I got it. Don't worry. God gave me a big check. I'm about to cover the tuition. Now they're sitting there like, oh my God, got this money. Okay, and if I had listened to you guys, where would the money have come from? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they will literally ambush you. They will freaking project onto you. They will try to grind you down and convince you that you are not going down the right path. But I promise you, if you literally just follow your own intuition, your own heart, you will have success or you will find happiness and they will eventually see that. I'll give you guys another example. I have a little brother. He's a skater. He loves skating. And my dad was telling him, like, I don't like the skating style. I don't like the baggy jeans. I don't like the shoes, blah, blah. He's like, I don't even know what you're doing. Like, African kids don't skate, blah, blah, blah. My just like, okay. He kept skating, and eventually he was able to fund a skating nonprofit back in West Africa because guess what? There's a bunch of kids in Ivory Coast where we're from that love to skate but just don't have the resources. And guess what? He competed at the skating Olympic thingies and represented our country. Would you look at that? They will always eat their fucking words, bro, I swear. You know what I find laughable? If you were to say, hey, I want to be an actor, they'd be like, no. Singer? Are you dumb? Chef? Are you stupid? Artist? You want to get slaps? And yet, how many African dads' favorite actors are Will Smith and Denzel Washington? The point is, they understand the importance of being able to just have a relaxing day. Let's say going to the movie. But then if you were to say you want to be an actor, they would say it's a stupid career path. And I get it. Being a doctor, you save people's lives. It's very, very noble work. But it isn't work we're all meant to do. Me, for example, as much as I'd love to save people's lives, I know God did not put me here for that. I hate blood. I hate cuts. I hate all that stuff. But that's the beauty of it. We were all put on this planet to achieve different things and to make different things come to light. I'm getting off topic, but you get the point. Follow your path, follow your dreams, follow your heart. That's where you will get the most success, the most enjoyment, the most peace. African parents will tell you not to like pursue your music career, but then when Burna Boy comes on, they'll be like, that man is bringing glory to the African continent. That man is bringing African music to the globe.
For years, I resented my African parents, and what stopped me from resenting them wasn't the fact that they changed or improved or tried to build a bridge between us or to apologize for many ways in which they were flawed, which, you know, as an adult now, I understand how they were flawed and the kind of mentality that they had to accustom themselves to in order to survive in this country. What stopped me from resenting them was accepting them for who they are instead of who I wanted them to be. When I was going through high school and like visiting friends that were white and had a different kind of relationship with their parents, you know, it's weird as an African kid to see your white friends call their parents by their first name or have this kind of casual engagement with their parents or want to call and talk to their parents frequently. I didn't have really that experience because the relationship I have with my parents was one so tied to the hierarchy that was present, so tied to the authority and the disciplinarian difficult relationship that comes with trying to create a product rather than to create a relationship or a connection with your child. Seeing those kinds of relationships with people, I think the first reaction, because I was immature, was to just immediately discount them as being inappropriate or weird. But the harder realization was knowing that I kind of wanted that for myself. Not necessarily being able to call my parents by their first name, but wanting to have a relationship with them other than I did a good thing. I got into this school, I got this award, I got this prize, I got this raise, and just talking about that. And I think one of the hardest things to realize is that your parents have conditioned themselves to believe they don't want that personal connection, that they want distance, they want removal. But they would never tell you that. They always say, oh, why aren't you calling? Why aren't you reaching out? But they never took the steps while you were growing up or even now as an adult to actually have a relationship with you.
As someone who's been living outside the US for almost 2 years now, I can so definitively see Black American culture as a blueprint. Obviously, I already knew this being in the US, but leaving the US made me see how this manifests on an international scale. This manifests in music. I go to the gym, they're always playing 2000s hip-hop. 99% of the time, it's Black artists. Same with fashion, streetwear, that's Black attire. Speech patterns as well. But yeah.
Yep, time to go. That motherfucker coming over here. Woo, shit. Hey, Carlo, bitch, look behind you. Woo, shit, motherfucker.
Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.